I've seen things that nightmares are made of. Do you believe in ghosts?
The following footage you are about to see is raw, unscripted footage of a paranormal investigation of an alleged haunted location by the Southern Indiana ghost hunters. Any evidence, if any, that is found within this footage is the interpretation of the Southern Indiana ghost hunters, but may not be the only explainable reason for such evidence. It's up to the viewer to decide.
On October 3rd, 2003, Mike and Linda Flickner visited the Myrtles Plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana. We had booked the Fannie Williams room, which turns out to be one of the most haunted rooms on the plantation. We arrived at the Myrtles about 30 minutes late, and I was concerned that we may not get in, even though we had a reservation. When we pulled up, we noticed a light in the front of the house, which we found out later was the parlor. The light looked as if it were coming from a television, so I went into the front door and knocked. As soon as I knocked, it looked as though someone had gotten up off of a couch and started to walk to the hallway to answer the door, but no one came to answer. This really upset me, so I went back to the car and I told Linda that I could not believe that being 30 minutes late and they are not going to let us in. I had decided to walk to the back of the house to see if I could get someone to answer. When I got to the back, I noticed a gift shop that had a note taped on the door that said, "Sorry we missed you," and there was a key taped to the note with directions to our room. It looked as though we were the only ones spending the night, at least for a while. So I went back to the car and got our bags, and we entered the house. When we entered the house, the air felt very heavy, and there was a sweet smell of flowers, not uncommon for haunted places. Our room was upstairs to the right. The house itself is over 200 years old, and any movement on the floorboards can be felt and heard throughout the house. We were alone in the house for about 4 hours, until another couple came and stayed across the hall from us. Not much in the way of paranormal happened this night. The closet door rattled a couple of times, but when investigated, nothing was there. This could have been due to the movement from the other couple across the hall. In the morning, we got up and went downstairs for breakfast in the gift shop. This was very good, and we asked about the caretaker that would not let us in the previous evening. We found out that at the time, we were the only ones on the property, and there is no television in the parlor. We told our host of the incident and was told that the caretaker, firemen, and local police will not even enter the building after dark. The Myrtles has no phones, TV, or radios, so when you are there it's deathly quiet. Our stay was not an investigation, although I do think that we saw a ghost. We do plan for Cy to do an investigation here in the future. I do think that the Myrtles is haunted, and if you ever get a chance to get down this way, it is very worth your while to check it out. Possibly the most well-known of the Myrtles' supposed ghosts, Chloe, or Chloe, was reportedly a slave owned by Clark and Sarah Woodruff. According to one legend, Clark Woodruff had pressured or forced Chloe into being his mistress. Other versions of the legend have Chloe listening in keyholes to learn the news of Clark Woodruff's business dealings or for other purposes. After being caught either by Clark or Sarah Woodruff, one of her ears was cut off and she wore a green turban to hide it. Chloe supposedly baked a cake containing extract of boiled and reduced oleander leaves, which are extremely poisonous. The various legends diverge as to why she did this. A housemaid who was getting the favor of the mistress was a suspect, and some saying she was getting revenge on the Woodruffs, and some saying she was attempting to redeem her position by curing the family of the poisoning. According to the legends, her plan backfired. Only Sarah and her 2 daughters ate the cake, and all died from the poison. Chloe was then supposedly hung by the other slaves and thrown into the Mississippi River, either as punishment or to escape punishment by the Clark Woodruff for harboring her. The historical record does not support this legend. There is no record of the Woodruffs owning a slave named Chloe or Cleo or any slaves. The legends usually claim that Sarah and her daughters were poisoned, but Mary Octavia survived well into adulthood. Finally, Sarah, James, and Camilla Woodruff were not killed by poisoning, but instead succumbed to yellow fever. Regardless of the factual accuracy of the Chloe story, some believe a woman wearing a green turban haunts the plantation. There are a variety of other legends surrounding the Myrtles. The house is reputedly built on an Indian burial ground, and the ghost of a young Native American woman has been reported. During the Civil War, the house was ransacked by Union soldiers, and legend claims that 3 were killed in the house. Supposedly, there is a blood stain in a doorway, roughly the size of a human body, that will not or would not come clean. Other legends say that cleaners have been unable to push their mop or broom into the space. A mirror located in the house supposedly holds the spirits of Sarah Woodruff and 2 of her children. According to custom, mirrors are covered after death, but legend says that after the poisoning of the Woodruffs, this particular mirror was overlooked. The uncovered mirror reportedly trapped the spirits of Sarah and her children, who are occasionally seen or leave handprints in the mirror. The plantation is also reportedly haunted by a young girl who died in 1868. Despite being treated by a local voodoo practitioner, she supposedly appears in the room in which she died and has been reported to practice voodoo on people sleeping in the room. There is also a ghost who reportedly walks, staggers, or crawls up the stairs and stops on the 17th step. Some have said that this is William Drew Winter, the victim of the only verified murder in the house. He was shot on his front porch and, accordingly to legend, staggered or crawled up the stairs but collapsed dead on the 17th step. Alternate versions of his murder claim he managed to crawl up the stairs and collapsed in his wife's arms on the 17th step. However, this version of the story is contested. In 1992, the proprietress of the Myrtles photographed what appeared to be a slave girl standing between 2 of the buildings on the plantation. The insurance company had required photographs to be taken that would show the distances between the buildings to aid the underwriters in rating a fire insurance policy for the plantation. The National Geographic Explorer filming crew determined that the photograph definitely contained what appeared to be an apparition of what they believed to be a slave girl. The slave girl appeared in the breezeway between the general store and the butler's pantry of the mansion. The horizontal exterior boards on the mansion are clearly visible through the body of the apparition. In this pic, do you see the young girl dressed in antebellum clothing who appears to be peering out of the large window? She is standing in the window to the left of the white rocking chair. The young girl appears to be looking directly into the camera. Her eyes, hair, and dress are clearly visible in the photograph, but what remains unclear is who is this girl and how did she get there? She is referred to as the ghost girl of the Myrtles Plantation.